So today I want to talk a bit about Bitcoin supply and demand right over here. Now, the first of all, in the 28 days following the launch of the Bitcoin ETF, approximately 272,000 Bitcoins were acquired by the 9 newly established ETFs, right? This together they are known as the newborn 9. Right? And concurrently, the 10th ETF, which is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, experienced a withdrawal of 167 Bitcoins at the same time, resulting in a net inflow of 105 Bitcoins in the 28 days since the launch of the ETF. So it's important to consider the potential cessation of sales from the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust in the future. And it has already happened right now, whereby on a day by day basis, we are seeing that the selling that's happening in the Grayscale is dropping more and more and more. So it will come to a point where, the cessation will eventually happen. Okay. During the same period of time, only 25,200 Bitcoins were mined. Okay, and based on the estimated daily production rate of 900 Bitcoins over 28 days, this figure is projected to decrease to 12,600 Bitcoins following the next halvings. Okay, so this data right over here, 900 Bitcoins over 28 days, 900 Bitcoins per day. This one you can get it from the internet, and then all you need to do is just times that, and that's how you get this number, right? So currently estimated there are 2 million Bitcoins available on exchanges, and this data is also available. You can check with Glassnode, highlighting the dynamic nature of Bitcoin's availability and its implications for the markets. Now, assuming the figures remains constant, okay, whatever you're seeing right now, the buying remains constant, everything remains constant, the selling also the same thing. This projection suggests that Bitcoin available on exchanges could be completely sold out within a period of 6.24 months. And how do I come to this conclusion? Here are the calculations I'm going to share with you. It will be divided into 5 steps. And from there, you can use these steps also to monitor it for the future. Is it coming? Is it happening as per the projections or not as well? Okay, so step 1 here is that I have to convert 28-day figures to monthly figures, right? So given that they are only the approximately 30 days in a month, we adjust the 28 figures to estimate monthly activity. So I'm going to change 28 to 30. Okay, so what's going to happen here is that I'm dividing the number of days over here by 28 days to get per day, and then times 30. So we get a monthly purchase of Bitcoin by ETF coming to 291,428.57. Okay, that is one. Then Bitcoin mined monthly pre-halving. Okay, the mining, if you remember, per day is 25,200 of 28 days. So if in 30 days, that's 27,000 Bitcoins mined in a month, right? Now, step 2, after we have those data, we have to calculate the post-halving mining rate. So halving reduces the mining reward by 50%. So it's halving the rate of the new Bitcoin creation. So when we have post-halving, what happens is that 27,000 divide by half, that it will be 13,500 Bitcoins a month being produced, right? Now, then we have to determine the monthly decrease in Bitcoin available on exchange for step 3. So pre-halving over here, we take this number right over here that we got earlier on, 291,428.57. We minus off the 27,000 mined. This is how much that we know that this is the monthly decrease. And after halving, is this number minus 13,500 because it's reduced to half, and you get 277,928.57. So we have this data as well. Now, step 4, I'm going to calculate the impact over a month leading to the halving. Okay, so BTC removed from exchange in a month. This is before the halving is 264 fall to 8.57. This number I got it earlier on over here, if you remember, under the step 3. Okay, so we got that number here. Now if we are talking about the balance, then we are talking currently at the exchange there's 2 million, right? 2 million minus off the Bitcoin that we're going to be mined in March, then you have 1.7, roughly 1.7 million Bitcoins left. Now, if you divide it by the post-halving monthly decrease, right, of 277,928, that's how you get the 6.24 months, right, over here. Okay, so this is just a calculation with the assumption everything remains constant. Okay, so that's why I outline it as the anticipate timeline for an extremely, the keyword here is an extremely optimistic scenario for Bitcoin, which is not to say not possible. It is possible because of the halving that is coming. Okay, and I won't be surprised if you have even much more FOMO coming in and people actually pushing this number, and this thing can even drop at a faster rate right over there. Okay, but then you would need the real FOMO there, and the big boys, they don't usually FOMO. The retailers are the only ones, if anything, to FOMO, right? Now, next part, this analysis over here that gave you that is the Bitcoin is going to finish in the drain from exchanges within 6.24 months. This based on the assumption that ETF will maintain consistent purchase rates of Bitcoin. However, it does not take into account potential shift in market dynamics or additional sources of Bitcoin supply. It's just what's available only on the exchange. There's always this possibility someone might just dump the money and you have more Bitcoins in there, right? So this is something that you need to understand. So in reality, circumstances often deviate from initial projections. We know that. Okay. So for instance, it's conceivable that the volume of Bitcoin acquired by ETFs could decrease by 50% or even 25% of the current rate. That can actually happen, which would extend the time frame to 12.48 and 25 months. If you do this, 12.48. If you do this, 25 into 25%, that means only 25% of the current rate that we're seeing. What's left is 25%. If it's been bought, then it will take about a little more than 2 years for this thing to complete. So respectively, before all Bitcoins, all this will be done, right? So this is one way that we can see. And if I'm use another set of data provided by a blockchain analytics firm Glassnode, right? It says that the percentage of Bitcoin circulating supply that was last active on the chain at least a year ago has reached a record high of 70.35%. That means, a very, very small amount, 29.65% of Bitcoin holders are the ones selling and buying their Bitcoins actively. The rest, they are not doing anything to it, hoping for prices to reach whatever their target is. Now, if I base on this model, the balance of the 29.65%, how long would it take for the ETF to buy if they maintain consistent purchase rate? Okay, and using this data over here, we have 20 months to exhaustion. Now, nevertheless, you can see one thing is that these are all very bullish scenarios, right? Of Bitcoin where demand is more than supply, which is possible because due to the pent-up popularity that we have seen so far, right? This could just continue on and on and on again. Okay, but then again, I want to warn everybody also, because we cannot just be looking on just one side. I know everybody's excited for this, but we don't look at just one side. So do take note that there's the possibility that purchasing activity may halt altogether as well, leading to a net selling scenario instead. So that could actually happen as well. But the possibility based on historical movements, yeah, that might not be high, but we can never discount that. Okay, so given these considerations, it's advisable to closely monitor the supply of Bitcoin at the exchanges to refine our assumptions and ensure a more accurate forecast right over here. So that's why I said you can use the data that I've just shared with you, and then you can calculate and then monitor and calculate and update the data as month goes by and see, how much Bitcoins left in the exchange. You can always look at Glassnode to have a better idea as well. Okay, so with that, I hope you have a better understanding on the supply and demand of Bitcoin currently, and how this relationship between the supply and the demand can actually change the price of Bitcoin. Okay, so we are moving on to the charts next.